EA Sports dropped the Sight and Sound deep dive for College Football 25 this morning, so we're going to break it down in this video and talk about all the new information. There's a lot to talk about, so this may end up being multiple videos this week, and we already know tomorrow we're getting the top offenses and defenses in the game, and then on Friday we're getting the power rankings for the game, so we're also going to talk about that. There's a ton of information to cover, so hold on tight. There's going to be a ton of videos, but it's great to have information to talk about for this video game. It drops in like 3 weeks, so we're almost there. So you're watching the deep dive right now on your screen. This one was all about the teams and the traditions and the fans and everything surrounding college football, so it was super cool to see all of that went into this game. So I'm pretty sure this was the presentation deep dive. I think some people were getting confused because they called it the Sight and Sound deep dive. I think it's the same thing. Sights and Sounds is the presentation deep dive. And obviously EA also dropped a blog post that they keep doing every time they do a deep dive, so we're going to talk about all the information in there. So real quick, I'm going to play a short clip from the deep dive. This is my favorite part. You can hear commentary from Chris Fowler, and it's Kennesaw State playing, so it's super cool.
Who gives a hoot? The Owls do. It's a touchdown.
Who gives a hoot? The Owls do. It's a touchdown. Dude, that's absolutely fire. That got me so excited for this game. The first thing I want to touch on is the fans and the crowds and the atmospheres in this video game. They showed a lot of footage and screenshots of the fans in this deep dive as well on the blog. It says, over the last 2 seasons, we worked with ESPN to capture crowd audio straight from their broadcasts. From Autzen Stadium to Death Valley and more, this content will function as our crowd noise, swells, and reactions that you'll experience in every game you play. And they added, remember that OT game from 2022 between LSU and Alabama? Yeah, we were there and we got all of it. So they literally have real in-game audio from the crowds at these games that they are going to put in College Football 25. So it's not going to be, fake crowd noise, AI generated. It's going to be real crowd noises from real games. So it's going to feel very authentic when you're playing in this game. Continuing on, it says another example of what makes college football so special are the themed games when the crowd comes together in unison to create a pattern across the stadium. From the checkerboard pattern at Tennessee to the triple stripe layout at Boise State, we have over 170 different patterns for schools that have them in real life. And you can see some of those examples on your screen now, and they look amazing, dude. I honestly think this screenshot of Boise State literally might be the best thing we've seen from this video game yet. It just looks absolutely amazing. Here's a rendering of the whiteout at Penn State. So we're going to have all this different color coordination in the crowd in this video game. It's going to be awesome. And this right here really shows the details going into this. It says, in addition to seeing the unison of the crowd come together for key matchups, each and every stadium is set up with its band section, away visitor section, and student section. Also, schools are equipped with pageantry props accurate to life, such as pom-poms at Michigan and Tennessee, towels at South Carolina and Pitt, and even the tiger tails for Missouri. So the bands will be set up in the correct section in the stadium. The visiting fans will be in their correct section. I know for one of the last trailers we got, Texas and Oklahoma fans were saying they had the seating wrong for the Red River rivalry. I think they had the Texas fans and the Oklahoma fans sitting on the wrong side of the stadium. And apparently that already got fixed. But those little details are going to be in this game. The correct fans are going to be sitting in the correct spot. The fans are going to have the correct props, like the pom-poms and the cowbells at Mississippi State. Those have already been confirmed as well. And like I said, the student sections will be in the correct place, and they touch on that as well here. It says the student section is the lifeblood of the stadium that brings the energy, passion, and emotion that spreads across the full stadium, creating that over-the-top college football atmosphere that we all love. We all know what the students do all game, stand and cheer. So in the game, the student section stands the whole game cheering on their team. So literally the whole game, the student section is going to be on their feet, which is realistic. The student section doesn't normally sit down during these massive intensive games. We captured both male and female actors screaming at the top of their lungs to recreate those high intensity third down moments. Not only are the big moments captured, but also the heartbreaking ones. Anyone remember the surrender cobra? It's in the game. Just don't miss that game-winning field goal and you will be spared. Whoever wrote this did a really good job because it's getting me super hyped for this game. But they said they captured male and female actors for the student section, which is good because obviously there's male and female students. The student section is going to be rocking the whole game. And if something bad happens, they literally put the surrender cobra in the game. And for reference, this is a surrender cobra. You probably see somebody strike this pose every single Saturday during college football season. But I absolutely love that they're bringing back showing fans in college football 25, because in NCAA 14 they actually kind of went away from that, and in the previous NCAA games they showed a lot of fans, but then in NCAA 14 they didn't. So I'm just really happy they're bringing that back. That's what college football is all about, is the fans. Now this next feature I wasn't sure was going to be in the game because I didn't think schools would want to showcase their stadiums without fans sitting in the seats. But EA delivered. We are getting dynamic attendance. So they have a great example here of what this is. A new feature to help bring more authenticity into the game revolves around attendance levels in the stadium. To help paint a better picture, here's a great example from one of our team members who is playing a dynasty with Florida International. During the first couple games, the stands were not very full, which resulted in a lower home field advantage stadium pulse. Once he landed a big win on the road at Indiana and the team record was 7-0, the stands were becoming more full to start the game. By the end of the season, with a 10-1 record and finishing in the top 25 rankings, home games would result in a sellout crowds, and the home field advantage pulse meter was now rocking high on the way to the conference championship. So again, I wasn't sure if this was going to be in the game, because let's go back to the example they provided. Florida International probably doesn't really want to show their stadium without fans. That's not a good look. But I guess EA convinced these schools, or the schools just didn't bring it up. But if you're sucking, there's going to be less people at your games. And if you're really good, there's going to be more people at your games. And that's going to affect your home field advantage. They also touched on crowd chants and what you will hear in the game from the crowd yelling. It says, for schools we weren't able to visit, we went to the top of the parking garage at our Orlando studio and yelled out each chant over and over again to nail down the pace and accuracy for each chant needed. 11 sessions later, we ended up capturing over 220 chants for our game, from OHIO for Ohio State to the third down chirps for the Cardinals of Ball State. We've covered as many as possible. So literally, for the schools they weren't able to physically go to, they went to the top of their own parking garage and yelled these chants to record them so they sounded like they were actually at the game, and then they put them in the video game. Again, that just shows the passion and the care that went into creating this video game. But the stadium atmospheres sound absolutely insane. Like, I can't wait to play at these different places and hear the chants and hear the fans yelling and see them yelling, see the surrender cobra, hear the cowbells. Like, all of it's going to be absolutely insane. Here are just a few of the chants that are in the game. I see SEC, Purple, Gold, App State, Move the Chains, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk. There's so many, and it says down there at the bottom, plus many, many more. So I assume you'll hear chants for most of the teams in the game. We will also see fans doing hand signals after positive plays and during pregame runouts. And these are some of those examples as well. The Wisconsin's W, the Miami U, Nebraska Bones, Ball State Chirp, Oregon O, Texas A&M Gig 'em. There's a ton of them. On this one, it says plus many more at the bottom as well. And we've already gotten to see some of these. Here's the Gator Chomp, Utah U, Washington Dubs Up, Miami U, and like it said, there's many more. So I think that touched on everything surrounding the fans. I think they absolutely nailed the fans and the stands and the atmosphere. I can't wait to see all of them in the video game. But we have more to talk about, so let's keep going. One of the few L's we got today is regarding mascots. It says, speaking of game day, mascots are one of the most fun aspects of college football. The variety and detail is unmatched across sports. This encompasses everything from humans in massive costumes to real animals. We have 50 total mascots in the game, including 40 team mascots and 10 real animals representing their schools. So only 50 total mascots in college football 25, and some of those are for the same team. If you think about like Tennessee, who has a real live dog, and then also just the regular mascot, same with Georgia. So there's a few of those schools. So there's going to be, 80 something plus teams in this game without a mascot. So that really sucks, and it also explains why there's no mascot mashup mode, because they don't even have all of the mascots in the game to begin with. The ones they do have in the game look amazing, and Matt Brown has touched on this a lot, but they had to draw lines where they were going to include things and where they weren't. They had to build this game from the ground up, and when they have to put a ton of stadiums in the game, a ton of different jerseys, that takes time. So there's going to be some things that aren't included, and it looks like mascots kind of got the boot. So only 50 total mascots, but this is something I assume they will improve upon over the coming years for like CFP 26 and 27, because once they've already made these mascots once, they'll just have to simply tweak them and update them over the years, but they won't have to totally recreate them. So hopefully by, at least CFB 27, but maybe even just next year, we can get every single mascot in the game. We finally also got some clarification on the commentating in this game. We knew that Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit were calling the big matchups, and then Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollock were calling the other games. But we got more specifics. So it says that Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit will call the games of the week. They will also call the conference championship games, each college football playoff game, and the national championship, and that's for Dynasty and Road to Glory. And then all the other games like Thursday night games or Kennesaw State versus Sam Houston State, like all those games, the smaller games, even Vandy versus Rutgers, that probably aren't the game of the week. Then Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollock will be calling those games. Again, that's for Dynasty and Road to Glory. But yes, if you're just doing a play now game, you will get to pick which commentary crew you want to call the game. So I hope people are excited about that. That's pretty cool. 2 different commentary crews. We didn't have that in the old game, and you get to pick which one you have if you're just doing a play now game. Now, we knew Kevin Connors was going to be the studio update guy for like halftime and different updates throughout the games, but we got more specifics on him as well. So it says, as fans of college football, we know the week-to-week games are happening all the time. Through studio updates, you'll be informed of the latest news from around the country. Longtime ESPN studio host Kevin Connors will be jumping in from time to time to call out national upsets, scores for games you care about in your conference, or updates on how your rival is doing when in Dynasty mode. These updates will happen whether you are playing in a Dynasty that is online or offline. For an online Dynasty, you'll hear about scores from other members in your Dynasty if they have already finished their matchup for the week. So I love this. The studio updates are such a realistic feature, but they're also a fun and cool feature, and they're actually helpful to be able to see like upsets and other scores around the country. I love watching a real game like in real life, and it pops up a studio update and like number 3 Texas just got upset by somebody or whoever it is, right? That's what makes college football so fun. Some massive upset happens. So having Kevin Connors come in and give that studio update will be super cool. It's also cool that if you're doing an online Dynasty, it'll give you studio updates from other members in the Dynasty when they've already played their games. It also touched on this picture-in-picture screen that we've seen in some of the other trailers. So after a play, it's going to show this screen. It shows like the fans in the stadium in the top left. It's going to show some stats in the top right. And then down below is where you pick your play. But it also mentions some other info panels you may see throughout the game. So stat comparisons, impact players, rankings from the conference, media and coaches poll, playoff brackets. And you'll also see things that are useful for gameplay like wear and tear, field goal kicker range, and much more. It says over 400 panels to keep each game feeling fresh and new. So that sounds awesome. One of my favorite things from the old NCAA games is when you would like break a historical record. Maybe it's passing yards, passing touchdowns, tackles, whatever it is, and it pops up on the screen. That's always a good feeling. And it sounds like that's probably coming back. We've also already seen some of the turnover celebrations, but they talked a little bit about that as well. It says, not only do we have the classic school traditions in the game, but the new era of traditions, including the turnover and touchdown props, made it into the game as well. All this action takes place during gameplay, and examples of what you might see are chainsaws, championship belts, basketball hoops, and even a throne. You can see the Colorado throne right here. It looks absolutely dope. And here's UNC's turnover belt. All these tiny little details, man, they are going to make this game. It's going to feel so immersive while we're playing it. I can already tell. EA also literally built replicas of trophies that had the same weight and dimensions, and then got motion capture of guys holding these trophies and celebrating to then put in the video game. So again, I just think this game is going to feel so realistic. Like you're going to hop into a game and it's going to feel like college football. And if you watched my videos from months ago, like before we got information about this game, that's what I was asking for. I wanted a video game that felt like college football, that didn't feel like professional NFL Madden football. I wanted it to be different. And just everything they've shown us, I feel like they delivered on that. It looks like college football. It looks totally different. I can't wait to play it. And it sounds like they use motion capture for basically every single prop in this video game, which is awesome. They literally built a 2-story ramp that you're looking at right now to simulate Clemson running down the hill at the beginning of the game. All 134 fight songs are in the game as well. They literally had a band travel to Nashville and record every single fight song for this video game. This deep dive did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to show you everything that went into making this video game and all the sights and sounds surrounding college football and how they put that in this game. So that's basically it for this breakdown. I'll have other smaller videos for other specific things. Tomorrow we are getting the top offenses and defenses in college football 25. Friday is the power rankings, and then probably one of the most exciting things we got from this deep dive is that the next deep dive we're getting is Dynasty. It says our incredible teammates over on the Dynasty team will be providing a deep dive into all things coming to Dynasty mode. So that will probably be next week. That will probably be the most anticipated deep dive for this video game. Dynasty is the main game mode. They have said that themselves. So be ready for next week. That's going to be massive news. Follow me on Instagram at BringNCAA I post everything there first. Subscribe here on YouTube for the longer video content. Also follow me on Twitter or X, whatever it's called these days. I recently just got one. It's just Tubby Light, just like the YouTube name. I'm going to start posting there as well. And I will see y'all tomorrow for the top offenses and top defenses in college football 25.